Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I want to talk to you about the series finale of Doom Patrol. It was called Done Patrol, interestingly enough. And as it started, we find ourselves back in the theater where the Doom Patrol left from in IMORTUS's time flux thing. And she's still being, freaking crazy as the werebutts try to get into the building. Laura turns into a bird and flies off to see Rita for help with her inability to not run away. Larry sends Keeg to attack, but there's no effect. Jane ineffectively uses the powers of Flit and Sundaddy simultaneously against IMORTUS, and Vic tries to use his Willoughby sword, but is thwarted. Jane then tries to use the power of Silvertongue in order to get IMORTUS to F off, but when IMORTUS blows the words away, the theater doors are blown open and the butts attack, until the one lady who was friends with one of the butts comes in and gets them to sing Shaboopy. IMORTUS gets pissed that the limelight is being stolen from her, and she starts singing a different song that apparently is about the Doom Patrol from a musical about them, and as the butts sing along, the patrol uses the opportunity to also sing along and slowly back out of the theater. For some reason, this sets off a really super glowing cloud thing that just evaporates the theater and everything inside it. The patrol then has a celebratory breakfast back at the mansion, and Vic shows off some engravings on his armor to remind him of who made his new tech possible. Jane explains to the team about how she's all the personas at once and that she can't really go by Jane anymore, and after she tells them that she keeps hearing the word kaleidoscope in her head, they decide to call her K, which of course is interesting because the original persona is K. She is K. IMORTUS then shows up at the house, saying that while it's only been an hour or so, she, instead of dying, has spent a bunch of time touring with her show, and she says that her success with it is all due to the fact that the butts were writing her various musical numbers and monologues, and she's thankful to the patrol for introducing her to the butts, so she gives them each a toenail to eat that will restore their longevity. IMORTUS also gives Cliff a crystal on a necklace to help him with something else, but doesn't say what, and then she leaves. Lord takes one of the toenails to go give it to Rita and finds her no longer alive. The team decides to go and get her soul back from the afterlife, and when they need an object that she's deeply connected to, Larry goes looking around the house for something, and when he can't find it, Rita's young ghost shows up and indicates that she doesn't want to be brought back, which has Larry quite distraught, but Rita reassures him everything will be okay. Ghost Rita then calls a team meeting and says that she wants to stay deceased and that everybody should just move on as individuals to improve themselves, because as long as they're not the best versions of themselves, they're no good to the rest of the team, which keeps making bad choices, and she disbands the team. She then asks them to burn her body, which they do, as she looks on, and Kay sings Ave Maria. As her body burns, it expands because it's all shapeshifty, and Laura has to poke it with a stick so that it will go back down, and then everyone ends up gagging because it smells like burning rubber. Then Ghost Rita fades away, saying that everything is fine, and the team goes to watch one of her old movies while eating s'mores, which Jane finds slightly inappropriate. The next day, Kay finds Cliff packing up his car and is sad that he was apparently going to leave without saying goodbye, which he says was only because he didn't want to steal Rita's spotlight. Cliff asks Kay what she's going to do, and she says she wants to sublet a place and paint, which Cliff calls kind of lame and points out that she could be a superhero who could defeat the Justice League and pants Superman. And they share a nice hug before Cliff drives off, and they each jokingly flip each other the bird. Larry retires to his room and laments that he can't see Mr. 104 anymore, even though he has the ability to do basically whatever he wants now. Vic walks through the mansion, seemingly on his way out as it's all packed up and the furniture is covered. Laura laments to him that she still hasn't figured out how to not be someone who comes in, messes things up, and runs away. And Vic tries to encourage her to carve a path for herself, which she says she's considered doing, but she's wondering if it's possible for someone to be both good and bad, at which point Vic tells her some people live in the gray and walk the line, which he says he'll let her know if she crosses, when she wonders if she'll know where it is. Larry finds a rag in a drawer in his room that he used to use back when he was with his previous lover, and he has a flashback to his lover telling him that if he wants a chance to take one, and decides to go find Mr. 104, as Kay looks online for sublets. When an alarm goes off, Kay goes to shut it off, but runs into Casey, who apparently set off the alarm when she entered the house thinking the house was empty after Dorothy told her it was, and she wanted to retrieve the spaceship. Casey confesses that she was hoping Dorothy was wrong when she said the mansion was empty, meaning that she wanted to see Kay. Kay muses that the ship might work as a little traveling sublet and asks Casey if she's got room for one more. Cliff attends his grandson's birthday party and after a few nice moments once again freezes up and thinks that maybe he's come home not to live but to die. In the afterlife, Rita encounters her lover from long ago that was killed, and they embrace. Larry retrieves what I guess is Mr. 104's essence from a box in the Bay of Bengal and carries it up to space where they can safely be together, and may or may not both have died. I wasn't sure what was happening there. Vic goes and joins his friend in teaching the kids robotics and science as he foresaw in the future. In the spaceship, Jane has set up an easel and is painting when Casey visits her with a kitten that they share a laugh over before kissing. Right before the episode ends, Cliff and his daughter are working on the car when Cliff freezes once again, but he looks at the crystal he was given as it hangs in the rearview mirror and seems to see snippets from his grandson, great-grandson's, and daughter's future, all taking place in the car, some good and some bad, including his daughter's death, and then flashes back to his own life before noting, upon his daughter calling to him, that everything's okay because he made it home, and he passes away. And that's where the episode and the season and the series ended. So I like this episode quite a bit, and it's a shame that they couldn't do more episodes like this in the last couple of seasons, which I really thought were not as good as the first two seasons. There were things about it I didn't like, but I think it's because they didn't necessarily expect to end the season when they started it, and so they had to wrap up the whole thing with the butts, kind of Deus ex machina, which couldn't have been more obvious and which kind of sucks. But they did that so they could have the rest of the episode to wrap up the characters' stories, and I thought that was probably better than spending most of the episode resolving the butt thing and then giving the characters' stories short shrift in the end. So I don't know, maybe it's not even a negative, but it's a bummer that they had to do that because of how the series was, canceled, I guess, while they weren't expecting it or hadn't prepared for it when they started writing the fourth season, apparently. One other thing I didn't like about it is that Dorothy wasn't in it. She was in it at the beginning. She was one of the most important characters, and I don't know why she wasn't in it. They could have put her in it at the end just to see everyone off, and they didn't, and that's a massive bummer. Come to think of it, there are a couple of other things about it that I didn't love, so maybe I shouldn't have said that I really liked this episode. I liked moments from it. I liked certain things that it did. I liked that Casey and Jane got together and they both seem happy. I liked that Rita is, if she had to die, at least she's with her lover in the afterlife, which is great for her. And I thought that Cliff's final scene was really moving, and that Brendan Fraser did an excellent job with it. I suppose I'm glad that Larry ended up with Mr. 104 and that he's happy, but I never really cared about that character. So, that wasn't anything special, but it wasn't bad. I guess I'm glad for Vic that he's going to go on and teach kids about science and stuff and that he's happy. But again, never really cared about that character. It seemed like, Laura was on a path to happiness in the end when she started torching the ant farm. So maybe she's going to end up in a good place and that would be cool. So I guess in the end, I liked it okay. And I really liked certain moments of it and certain, story elements that they wrapped it up with. But, it had some flaws because of the timing of the show's cancellation. And because some of the characters I think were weak. Like I never really cared about the Mr. 104 and Larry story. I never really cared about Vic. So, that kind of was flat for me. And while I loved the Laura character, her ending wasn't as definitive. So I don't know. I also didn't love that Cliff and Rita died, but at least, like I say, Rita found her love in the afterlife, and that's something. And I guess Cliff is at peace. So that's good. So I don't know. I guess I'm up in the air, kind of wishy-washy on that. But the series on the whole, was okay. The first two seasons I thought were excellent. They got some of that excellence back this season when they brought back, Timothy Dalton and Dorothy. And, we finally got to see Jane use her abilities again, from the different personas, which was one of the good things about the first two seasons. She kept being these different people. They stopped doing that a while back. So the whole series has been a mixed bag, and you know, it's unfortunate that they couldn't have done more episodes that contained some of the good moments from this one, some of the good storytelling from this one, because I would have liked the last two seasons a lot better. But that's really it. There's not a lot more to say. The Doom Patrol is over, and now there's only one DC show left, and it's Superman and Lois, because even just yesterday there was news that J.J. Abrams' Constantine show is not going to get made. So until the new regime at DC puts something else on, we truly are down to just one show now, Superman and Lois, which of course is ending. So we may see, the end of 2024 roll around and no DC shows whatsoever being on TV, unless, James Gunn and those guys come out with something before that. But anyway, that's it. I'm kind of rambling now, so I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back with another video soon. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.